Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining. Before we talk about the issue I'm coming before you today, I just want to express what I think is true for a lot of folks across this country, a heavy heart about what's happening in Afghanistan. It's tragic. Over the years, many Tennesseans have fought and sacrificed even their lives for stability in the region, and I certainly hope that wisdom prevails in the United States response to what's happening there. And I certainly hope that Tennesseans will pray for the people of Afghanistan as they face tremendous challenge and tragedy. Let me start off this portion of the briefing by saying that we are ourselves facing a significant challenge here in Tennessee as a result of the COVID-19 cases, especially with regard to our hospitals. I need to remind Tennesseans that the most important tool that we have to fight the pandemic is a vaccine. And I encourage Tennesseans who have not been vaccinated to talk to your doctor, to consider getting the vaccine, to make an informed decision. That's what I did. I talked to my doctor, I got the vaccine, and I've stayed healthy as a result of it. The government will not mandate or require anyone to get vaccinated, but I do encourage you to consider it for yourself. It's widely available, it's effective, and it's free. And more Tennesseans are choosing to take a vaccine, 110,000 last week. And that bodes well for the future of the state's health. If you do become sick with COVID, please reach out to your doctor. Early intervention is very important. Treatments, especially the treatment of monoclonal antibodies, which is very effective if used early in treatment. That treatment is available all across our state. 72 centers offer monoclonal antibodies. So reach out to your doctor. They can provide the best way forward if you do get sick with COVID. I want to acknowledge, too, the frustration and the fear that people are continuing to have with this pandemic, fear of COVID and its effect on your family, fear of government intervention and its effect on families. And right now, some of the greatest frustration comes from masks and information that changes daily. That frustration is found especially right now in our K-12 schools, especially around the issue of mask mandates. Local decision-making is very important. Individual decision-making by a parent on issues involving the health and well-being of a child is the most important. No one cares more about the health and well-being of a child than that child's parent. And so today I'm signing an executive order that allows parents to opt their children out of a school mask mandate if either a school district or a health board enacts one over a district. Districts will make the decisions that they think are best for their schools, but parents will have the ultimate decision-making for their individual child's health. And because of that, I will not be calling for a special session as well. Our hospitals are struggling under the surge of the weight of COVID, but those hospital beds are filled with adults. Requiring parents to make children wear masks to solve an adult problem is, in my view, the wrong approach. Our hospitals and healthcare workers are doing everything they can to take care of Tennesseans. And that's why I signed an executive order last week to provide as much flexibility as possible to these facilities so that hospitals can do their jobs. And our administration continues to provide funding and staffing support to ensure that we limit the barriers to hospitals that are facing this strain. And I want to commend them once again for stepping up under tremendous strain, which they've done time and time again through this pandemic. It is important that we keep our schools open. We've seen that with the devastating results of schools that went virtual or were closed and the impact that it had on our kids. And so parents, if your children are not feeling well, please keep them at home. Stay in contact with your pediatrician. Common sense goes a long way. And school boards, I want to commend for their tremendous efforts to try and navigate their way through this and keep schools open throughout last year and once again moving forward this year. It is frustrating, I know, that we enter another school year with these challenges. It's frustrating that we face a surge in COVID. But I'm proud of Tennesseans who, in spite of suffering, are persevering. And because of their character, we find great hope for the way forward. Thanks for joining me, and I'm happy to answer your questions. Natalie.
Governor, at what point are you going to allow or instruct the Board of Education to change the rules for schools to be able to shift back to virtual learning, or would you say that that wouldn't happen at all this year?
Yeah, we don't want them to go back to virtual learning. Currently, there's no plan allowed for them to go back to virtual learning, so we'll take that one step at a time, but our hope is that they won't move in that direction.
Certainly your hope is that they won't, but would you rule that out altogether?
Well, there are rules around days of instruction required for districts, and those rules are still in effect unless they were to be changed, and we don't have any plan to change those right now.
Another question, you opened the press conference talking about you hope that the U.S. has the appropriate response to what's happening in Afghanistan. If Biden does increase the number of refugees coming over, would you want Tennessee to see an increase in that number due to the crisis there?
Well, I think the very first thing we need to watch, and I think President Biden, I know he's giving a press briefing right now that will provide information. It's way too early to talk about what's going to happen later. We first need to see what the intervention there is going to be from a military standpoint, and then we'll go from there.
Governor, I'm just trying to get this clear. Would this order apply to the 6 larger independent health boards in counties that are covered over that?
Yeah, it applies to any either health board or district that imposes a requirement.
What would happen if a health board or county were to try to enforce a mask mandate and somebody, challenged them?
Well, I suppose that'd be against the law, and we would see what would happen there. They'd be violating the law. Steve?
As you say, parents have the best decision-making authority for their kids' health and well-being. Why does this only apply to masks and not various other requirements that schools place on?
Well, this is the issue that is of most frustration and concern right now, so that's what we're addressing here.
Governor, in the letter from Councilor Mulligan, there's other things they touched on, including that this question of discrimination against people who go to businesses that require vaccination evidence or a negative COVID test. This doesn't address that. Is that something you think is pressing and needs to be addressed, or is this a private property right business?
Well, I think this is the issue that's most prevalent that need to be addressed today, which is why we're doing this today. On the issue of vaccine passports, I think those are a bad idea. Certainly as a former business guy, they would be bad for business. I think it would be a bad idea for businesses, and I don't suspect that we're going to see a lot of that in this state, but we'll see where that goes.
But as a former businessman, do you think that the government should be able to tell businesses what to do, whether they choose to do something that's bad for business or not?
It depends. Government has a right role in regulating businesses, but I think that particular issue is a bad idea for businesses. Sam?
I believe Tyson Chicken is among the companies that's requiring people to show that they've been vaccinated before they report.
In Tennessee?
Yes. Are you aware of that, and what's your take on that?
Yeah, I think it's a bad idea. That's what I just said. I think it's a bad idea.
Okay, are you taking action to make it reverse?
Well, we'll consider it as we see that happen in our state in a greater way. There's nothing off the table. I think it's a bad idea for them to do that. Yes. I think it's a way forward. I think it's a way forward. We've seen this happen, this same type of approach being used in Hamilton County. It's being used in Washington County. It recognizes the ability for districts to make decisions, but recognizes the importance of a parent's decision-making as well. So I think it's a way forward.
And this morning, Dr. Pearson mentioned federal funds to help hospitals during this time. Can you talk a little bit about that and how quickly these hospitals are going to see this money to help them?
Yeah, so staffing assistance and grants are something that we're looking at. Federal funding is available. It's restricted, and so we're trying to determine whether it's allowable to be used to expand staffing for hospitals, but that Department of Health is looking at it. Bill?
Governor, I have a couple of questions on what you're having us today, but first I need to ask, with the Homeland Security report on the use of illicit statistics, do you have any comment on that?
You know, I knew that the Department of Safety was investigating, but I haven't read the report. I think it just came out.
On your order today, if local school boards have the legal authority to impose mask mandates, what is your legal authority to interfere in that?
Yeah, the law allows in this current environment for the governor to issue an executive order that suspends law that implements a particular authority. So that constitutionally, that's what is at play here. That's what's at work here.
So you're suspending their authority in this limited instance?
Suspending the authority in a limited way on the issue of masks.
And then your health department says masking is a two-way street. Masks help protect you in case someone around you has COVID-19. Masks also protect others in case you have COVID-19. If that is what your health department is saying, that everyone needs to be masked, where are you getting the information that you need to override that? Is it wise to override what your own health department is saying?
Yeah, I think it's, well, what they've said is that masks protect you from someone that has COVID, and masks protect you as well if you are exposed to someone with COVID. So it is protective for the person that wears them. We all know that masks are protective, and that's why parents need to make their decisions about whether they want their kid to wear a mask in school or not, or whether an adult wears a mask or not. They're protective, and if parents want their child to be protected in that way, then they should do so. And if a parent believes that that's not best for their kid because of other reasons, then they should have the ability to make that decision for the health of their children.
If an unmasked child is spreading COVID through a classroom, you're willing to accept that way?
Well, if the other children in the classroom are wearing masks, then they would be protected from that unmasked child.
Not according to your health.
Yeah, what I think most of all is that the health and well-being of a child is best decided by the parent. That's what I think. Not decided by government, and not decided by a school district, but decided by a parent. They care more about their kid than anybody else. And so that's why we're making this decision.
Governor, will you bear the responsibility because of this executive order if the child dies after contact with COVID-19 in school?
What was your question?
Will you bear any responsibility because of this executive order if the child catches COVID within school buildings and dies?
Yeah, we're doing everything we can in this state and to make sure that children are protected and to make sure that parents are given every tool they can to protect their children from this virus. Fortunately, what we have found is that of the hospitalizations in our state, about 0.5% of those are pediatric COVID cases. Less than 0.5% of them of overall hospitalizations. So we want the information to be there, and then we want parents to make those decisions.
Well, who's advising you specifically, doctors? Who's advising you concerning COVID?
Oh, we have.
Could you name them?
No, I'm not going to name individual doctors, no.
That's advising you regarding public health, regarding.
Our Department of Health and the doctors at our Department of Health are, I talk to them every day.
Will Tennessee follow suit with what other southern states are saying where leadership is doing nothing and then the federal government is having to come in and bail out hospitals? At any point will we see that under your leadership, the federal government coming in and bailing out these hospitals?
We certainly hope the federal government doesn't tell Tennessee what to do. We believe Tennesseans believe best what Tennesseans should do. We believe that our state government should make the decisions that's in their best interest of Tennesseans. We think the 10th Amendment protects states' rights, and that's what we'll continue to. That's what we'll continue to do.
Will we see that happening in Tennessee?
What you will see is that Tennessee will make the decisions for their citizenry that they think are in the best interest of Tennesseans.
Governor, we want to make sure we get to Vivian here.
Yes.
We're gonna have to wrap up.
Governor, tomorrow evening, the Metro Council in Nashville is going to be considering for the first time, an ordinance that would require everyone in public places to wear masks. Similar to what we saw last time, that this would be passed through the Metro Council. Are you considering at any point reinstating local authority to require masks as hospitalizations continue to rise?
I'm not.
Okay. And if they do pass such a ordinance, would you consider using the same logic as students having the ability to opt out? Would you consider another executive order allowing individuals to opt out?
Yeah, you know, there are a lot of, if this happens, will you do that? And I can't answer, questions about what might happen in the future and what we're going to do there. We'll make those decisions one day at a time. Yes?
Last question here.
Yeah, and when it comes to vaccines and masks, like we've been talking about, when do you think a shift should happen between having it be a personal decision and then a decision that is better for the entire community?
Yeah, so I don't think that we ever, as a government, should mandate or require vaccines, ever. So I don't think that decision time will ever come here in the state from the state government. Okay, thank you, guys.